the event today. And we'll be moving to the next slide. There we go. So my name is Joe Greenspan. I'm the VP of Commercial Operations for ACT. I'll be spending a few minutes with you up front to share some high-level information about what's new in the world of ACT, and also give you just a brief primer on our main topic today, which is connecting with customers. For many of you that have had to scale back or even shut down your operations this past year or so, your task will be more about reestablishing those vital connections with customers that you may have lost touch with or that may now have very different expectations about how they want to do business with you. Then Brent Milner, our expert ACT trainer, will then take you through a live demo where he's going to highlight 5 easy ways you can leverage ACT to revitalize those customer relationships, really putting technology to work to gain a better understanding of where they're at and what their current preferences and needs are. And then I'll join you again at the end to go through 5 reasons why we believe ACT is the best solution to help you capitalize on these opportunities in front of you. We'll also cover how you can get access to the latest innovations in ACT if, for example, you're not already an active subscriber or if you've not yet been exposed to our integrated marketing solution. So let's get right to it. As most of you know, ACT added marketing automation to the portfolio in 2019 and has really had a tremendous reception so far with substantial uptake from our customer base. So fusing together, as we like to say, proven CRM and powerful marketing automation has allowed us to empower you guys, our customers, who are mostly small and mid-sized businesses, although we do have some very large customers, to leverage ACT really as the control center of their front office operations, or as the beating heart of their business, if you will, to think of it more metaphorically. We hear from customers all the time that sales and marketing are so intertwined in many cases that they're indistinguishable now. So enabling these 2 business functions with a single solution allows their customers to deliver a seamless and high quality experience to their existing clients, helps them acquire new clients, but also delivers a lot of efficiencies internally in terms of having closed loop information in one place and the ability, for example, of salespeople to immediately act on hot leads from a marketing campaign or from a form or landing page, et cetera. So a lot of what you'll see here today will feature this integrated CRM and marketing functionality, which together enable people to drive those customer connections that we're focused on today. So on the topic of e-marketing, I'll share a quick anecdote that you may relate to. So I've been with the company for a good while, and there's this interesting phenomenon we've noticed over the years that often our customers will tell us directly or via survey that they don't do e-marketing because perhaps they're not big enough, or maybe they don't have the staff or the skills or the budget to do it. But when we dig a little deeper, or if we ask the question a little differently, we find out, in fact, many of these same folks really have been doing it for years. Because despite what it sounds like, e-marketing isn't only about sending out promotions or campaigns, for example. Connecting with customers, which is what's really important, and nurturing those relationships can take many different forms, like surveys or quotes, newsletters, appointment reminders, maintenance renewals, even just saying happy birthday or thanks for your business or happy holidays once a year. Those are all examples of e-marketing. We also hear that people are interested but don't have the time, or even more commonly, don't know how to get started. So the good news there is you can start small with simple pre-built templates or campaigns. Then as you learn and really start to master it more, you can get into more sophisticated things like automated workflow or surveys or landing pages, progressive profiling, all kinds of more advanced techniques to help you attract and retain and really stay in contact with your customers and prospects. So e-marketing, in our view, is really something to be excited about, not intimidated by. And we're going to show you live in ACT today just what we mean by this. So getting to our focus for today's webcast, and with regard to the pandemic, as the world really begins to open back up in many places, certainly not in all, we appreciate, there's just no question that our lives and really more so our businesses have changed a great deal. Through what's been a very challenging and frankly tragic time for many, the way we buy, the things people buy, and the mindset in which people buy them have really been altered forever. So in turn, this means, the way businesses present their products and services and also communicate with their customers is needing to evolve in lockstep. We saw a recent poll from MetLife and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce that said 86% of small businesses have either fully or at least partially reopened in some capacity. So while this is encouraging, the research also notes they're still figuring out how to safeguard and monetize their top asset, which is their loyal customer base. So to get business back on track, the shift that needs to take place from simply being in survival mode for the last year to really broadening these connections and addressing these changing needs with very personalized communications and very personalized engagement tactics. So even companies that were able to maintain these customer connections, whether it be through social media or other platforms over the past year, are thinking now about how to expand and re-energize those relationships, whether it be through new offerings or loyalty programs or promotions or any other types of hooks or incentives. So with this as the backdrop, we want to spend the next bit of time here talking about very practical ways that you can begin reconnecting with your customers and how ACT can help you do that. So let's dive right in and we'll get you to the live demo here pretty quickly. There are dozens of ways you can begin to reconnect and re-energize those relationships like we talked about. But we landed on 5 for today that we think are not only important and timely, but also very practical and accessible to everyone, regardless of size or budget or skill level or anything like that. So in that respect, ACT can be the great equalizer, allowing everyone to have a very professional presence and also reap the benefits of the very powerful and frankly pretty cool technology. And lastly, we do recognize that each of your businesses are different and unique. So, while not everything you see here today may directly apply to you and your business, we certainly hope it will inspire you to think creatively, push the envelope a little bit, and maybe try out some new things. So I'm going to hand it over to Brent. Take it away, and we'll be back on later to wrap things up.
Great. Thank you very much, Joe. And as Joe mentioned earlier, businesses are having to find new ways or ways to reconnect to their customers. The pandemic and the subsequent health guidelines have changed the way businesses needed to operate just to survive over the past year. Restaurants ramped up their smartphone apps with menus and order placement. Healthcare facilities and veterinarians turned their parking lots into waiting rooms. Retail customers have either had to shop online or by exclusive appointments, but now businesses are trying to get back to normal, and it's a good time to let your customers know what that means to you. So here we are inside ACT, where I can access the marketing automation area from the left navigation. Now here in this area of ACT, you can quickly design an email template to reach your customers today. By going to the email templates area, you can choose one of the many pre-built templates in our library and then customize it with a few easy changes to make it your own. I've chosen a template from the library, and what I'm going to do now is edit this template that I've created to make it match my own branding guidelines. And so the first thing I want to do is change this sort of placeholder logo at the top. So I'm going to click that logo, and then I'll click the Change Image button here within the designer. Now, when designing your templates, there's an image library where you can upload your own images, you can link to images that you own online, or you can search through a repository of 500,000 royalty-free images that you can use in your email templates. Now, I'm going to use my own logo and just insert this logo into my template area. Now, I've added this logo to the top, but while I'm here, I think it needs to be cropped a little bit. So let me show you how I can just apply some effects to any of the images that you have in your library. If you need to edit images or anything like that, you can apply filters or anything like that. And I'm going to crop this one. So I'm going to use this crop tool. And what I'm going to do is just sort of slim down that image a little bit, and then I'm going to apply it. And I'll click Save. So by cropping it just like this, it's going to edit that image only to the template that you see here. Now, also on this email template, I've already added this open for business image at the top. And although that does tell a good story, I think I should add some explanation beneath it so that my customers will know what being open for business means for me. So what I'm going to do is go to this content area, and I'm going to add a text block. If I just click it, I can drag it onto my template. And as you can see, I can drag it and drop it anywhere that I want, but I'm going to drop it just beneath this welcome we are open image. And then at this point, all I have to do is change the text to meet the message that I'm trying to send out. Now there's one last thing I want to do for this email template, and maybe at the bottom of the template, I want to drive traffic to my various social media outlets. So to do this, again on the content tab, I'm just going to locate the social media content item, click it and drag it once again, and then I'll just drop it anywhere on my layout. Now this displays a default list of 4 buttons, but I can remove the ones that don't apply. Maybe I don't have a LinkedIn account. I can just delete that to remove it from my view. I can also add other kinds of social media items, like perhaps I have a YouTube account that I want to link my customers to. Now on the right side of the screen, I do have to remember to update the URLs for each of these social media outlets so that they point to my specific pages. At the top, I'm going to click the Save button. And actually right now might be a good time to preview how this email will look, whether you're viewing it from a desktop or a phone. So on the left, I'm going to click Actions and choose the Preview option here. And this shows my desktop view of how this email is going to look. And if I click the mobile button, it will show me a friendly, responsive layout for smartphones. So I have to tell you that I'm not a design expert by any means, and yet I've put this email template together pretty quickly and with ease. So if I can do this, then anyone can do this. But what happens in ACT once I send out an email like this to my contacts? Well, I can go to my contacts area in ACT, and I did send out a campaign like this earlier this week. So let's see somebody who I sent it to. Her name is Hope. And if I search for her in my ACT database, I can go to the Campaign Results tab from her detail view. And here I can see that the email was sent yesterday. I can see when she opened it, how many times she opened it, how many clicks she might have clicked on inside the email itself, and what her last clicked URL was. So you can use the email templates from within ACT to re-engage with your customers, letting them know that you're open for business. Now, over the past year, businesses have had to adapt to the changing world, but customers went under a similar transformation. Customers have discovered new ways to eat, shop, exercise, and even socialize. So not only do you need to let them know that you're open for business, but it's a great time for you to actually get to know them better. What changes have your customers adopted permanently? Or in what ways would they just like to go back to the way things were in 2019? In ACT, you can design a survey of questions so that your customers can tell you the best ways that you can continue to serve them. Now, this is available inside the landing page area in ACT. So I'm going to click landing pages at the top. And landing pages are great because you can create lots of different question types, and then your customers' answers will be recorded for you on their contact records in ACT. I've got a landing page that I created earlier. It's called How Do You Shop? And maybe you're even asking, well, what is a landing page? Well, you might be familiar with survey tools like SurveyMonkey or even Google Forms, but did you know that you can create or use a landing page within ACT to create your own surveys? So what I want to do is take a look at one of the landing pages that I've started building already. And what we're looking at right now is the workflow of this landing page. So I'm going to click on this form and edit it to show you the questions that I've already created. Now here I'm asking for basic contact information, what's your name and your email address. But I also have a couple questions that ask about their current shopping climate. I've even been thinking about hosting virtual events for my customers who don't yet feel completely safe going out. So what I've done at the bottom is I've created a survey question that asks my customers if they'd be interested in attending a virtual event. And I'm using a slider question type so that they can rate their interest on a scale of 1 to 10. The question asks, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most interested, how interested would you be in attending a virtual event? And so here's the great thing about using a landing page within ACT. I can link each of these answers to a specific field for my contacts in my ACT database. Let's look at this last question to see what I'm talking about. If I edit this question, I can see that I have mapped it to a custom field that I've created in ACT, and the field is called Survey Virtual Events. So let's keep this in mind for now because we're going to use this in just a little bit to do something really cool. Now, the beauty here is that as your customers and prospects submit these surveys back to you, two things are going to happen. First, if they don't already exist in your ACT database, then ACT is going to create a contact record for every response. Second, you'll be able to find specific responses for each contact in your ACT database. Down at the bottom, here's a link to my survey. And what I'm going to do is view that survey in my web browser here. Now, you can design skins like this one around your surveys to match your company brand. So if you're a realtor, maybe you could use this survey to gauge interest in maybe virtual walkthroughs or online open house events for your property listings. Or maybe you're a financial planner. You could use a survey like this to see if your customers are interested in attending personalized financial updates in a virtual meeting space like Zoom. So we're going to fill out this survey real quick to show you how it works. We'll say that Annie Anderson has responded, and she's given me her email address. We'll say that she feels it's safe to shop, and right now she is shopping online for pickups. Now down below, I'm going to say that on a scale of 1 to 10, Annie is at a 9. She's very interested in virtual meetings. And so now, again, whenever someone submits this survey, I will be able to immediately find their responses in my ACT database. So when I collect data like this for hundreds or even thousands of current and new contacts, I can market to these customers in a targeted way. And we're going to look at this in a little bit. But the main goal here is to reconnect to your customers by getting feedback from them so that you can find out what's important to them right now as the world begins to slowly open up again. Now, once you've reestablished or strengthened the connections with your customers, really the worst thing you can do is then lose touch with them. So to prevent this, you might want to implement some reminders and follow-ups to stay on top of their minds or to keep the conversation going. Now, in ACT, you can use the automated workflow to implement changes like this. And you can create decision stages along with follow-up actions, which you can then tailor to reach the right kind of customers. Let me show you an example of what I've done to retain and nurture my customers. Now, in this campaign, I've created a workflow of stages and actions that should take place automatically over time. And while even looking at this workflow, I can sort of zoom in and zoom out. I can even drag it and move it around on the screen so that I can see the things I want to see. Or I can change its orientation from vertical to horizontal if I prefer that layout more. But let's look at the workflow itself. Now, as you can see, in the first step, I've sent my initial email out to my customers to let them know that we're still open for business. But now I can follow up with my customers based off of their reactions to my first email. Here, I've added this orange decision stage, which is going to split my customer base, depending on whether they opened my email or not. Notice there's a time element here. It says wait 2 weeks. I'm going to wait 2 weeks to see who opened the initial email and who did not. Those who opened the email are going to be taken along this yes branch, where I have some planned actions lined up for them. Maybe I'm going to schedule a call with them to follow up, and then I've also decided to add them to a specific opportunity in my ACT database so that now they'll become part of my sales pipeline. But what about those who did not open my email within that 2-week window? Well, I certainly don't want to just give up on them, so what I'm going to do is schedule a second email to go specifically to them after the 2 weeks is up. And this time I'm going to change up the messaging a little bit so that maybe I can entice them with something different. And then moving forward, I could continue down this workflow, creating additional decision branches, email stages, and other actions to nurture my customers within this campaign. I could even automatically add them to an entirely different campaign if I want. So this is the brains of the operations behind the curtain. ACT is keeping the conversation going for you, freeing you up for other tasks, while ACT keeps track of your marketing interactions. Now, over this past year, people have been living on their smartphones more than ever before. In-person socialization has been impossible or even difficult, and so people have turned to social media as a substitute for the real thing. ACT can help you capitalize on that by interacting with your customers where they already are. One way to do this is through the Assets feature in ACT. Now, assets are basically marketing efforts that you own. These are things that you've already created. An example of an asset could be a YouTube video that you created, or a PDF file that explains your goods or services. Even a web page that you built, that could be an asset. And so I have an asset campaign based upon reminding my customers that we're open. And here's an example of an asset that I built. Let's say that I've created a fun video tour of my store just to show customers how we've innovated the shopping experience over the past year. Or maybe I'm in real estate and I want to demonstrate a video walkthrough of one of my listings as a sample for potential customers. Once I've uploaded that video to YouTube, I can use it here in the assets area to reach more customers. Here is the unique link that points to my asset video. If I go to Actions, I can copy this URL. And what I'm going to do is paste this in a browser window just to play it for you. Now you may be thinking, why would I go through the assets area to do this rather than just post the link from YouTube itself? Well, the beauty behind the assets area is that you can view statistics for everyone who views a video like this. And I'll show you how you can see these stats right here from within the assets area. But that's not all. On a video or a PDF file, I can embed a form that automatically pops up during that video. So in this example, I have the form scheduled to appear 30 seconds into the video. The video pauses, and then it gives my viewers a chance to leave me their contact information. I'm going to fill out this form real quick. With some contact information. And then I'll submit this. And once this is submitted, ACT is going to create a contact record for that person in my database, and they'll be able to continue viewing the video. Additionally, I'll be able to see everyone who submitted this form back to me from my assets area in the dashboard. By doing this, I can go to my actions area, click the dashboard, and then this is going to display to me some of the details of anyone who viewed that video and submitted that form. This is the results area for the form that I just filled out. And these contacts are the ones that are already highly engaged with me. And so I should really reach out to them first. So when you post assets like this on your social media outlets, what you're doing is you can reach your customers in the places that they're already visiting. Now, finally, a general rule of thumb is that the more you interact with your customers, the more you're going to learn about them. And once you're armed with this knowledge, you can really get creative with customer engagement. So in ACT is going to let you populate the groups. ACT is going to let you populate, I lost my train of thought here. ACT is going to let you populate your database with customers who have something in common by using groups, the groups technology inside ACT. So let's take, for example, that the survey that I created earlier. Let's go back to that survey and just take a look at it. One of the questions that I asked, if you recall, revolved around how interested somebody was on a scale of 10 with attending a virtual event. After I submit this survey, what I can do is go back to contacts area in ACT and look up that person's name. So I'm going to submit it just one more time here. We'll say this is Jim. And for Jim, I'm going to say that he's got an interest of 10. He's super interested in a survey or in virtual events. So we're going to submit that survey. And what I'm going to do now is go back to my contacts area in ACT. And I want to look up Jim to see how he submitted this survey, to see the results of that. So let's go to contacts. And I'm going to look for Jim. Do a refresh real quick. There he is. So Jim shows up. If I look at his detail view, a couple things I'll be able to notice here. First of all, ACT has already created a contact record for Jim, including the details, the little bit of details that he submitted to me on that form. But secondly, if I go to the user fields tab that I've set up earlier, I have 3 fields that I created to specifically gather information from that survey. So I know that Jim doesn't feel safe going out in public yet. I know what his shopping habits are, and here I can see that his interest in virtual events is 10. And so keep that in mind, because the last thing I want to show you is how we can create a group of all of my contacts who are interested in virtual events. So in ACT, I'm going to go to my groups area, and here's a group that I've already created in ACT. It's called Virtual Events Interest. Now I've set this up as a dynamic group. And if I click the Add Remove Contacts button from the Contacts tab, I can see the rules that I've written for group membership. And they are that anyone who on the survey virtual events field enters a number that's greater or equal to 7, they're going to be automatically added to this group. And so here's how that looks. If I go to the Contacts tab of this group, we can see that all of those folks have been entered into this group, and ACT has already done this qualification for me. So by getting creative with ACT, I know which contacts I'll invite to my virtual events. Not only that, but I know which customers have engaged me through the survey as a whole. I have a wealth of information that I can use, and really I'm only limited by my creativity. And so with that, what I want to do is turn it back over to Joe now.
Excellent. Thank you, Brent. That was great stuff. Really appreciate it. Let's keep moving forward. So as ACT customers, you know, it really goes without saying that you already understand the value of a great CRM solution. And hopefully based on what you saw today and what you know from your own experiences, you can see and appreciate the power and potential really of a great e-marketing solution. So, you know, the fact is there's dozens of e-marketing solutions out there. We recognize that, including some very popular ones that I'm sure you've all heard of. What I'd like to share now, though, before we wrap up, are the very tangible benefits of having these solutions together, integrated on one platform, coming from one vendor. So let's dive into that. The first key benefit, and perhaps the most important, is how an integrated solution contributes to building the richest possible profiles of your customers. So nothing is really more important than understanding how they interact with your business across every dimension and touch point, including marketing engagement. So the 360-degree view that an integrated sales and marketing platform provides is vital to being fully informed and prepared to make each subsequent interaction the best it can be, and ACT helps you do that. So the next key benefit is really all about efficiency and accuracy. So it can be very frustrating to have lists here and there and everywhere else that aren't in sync. So that puts you at risk of acting on incomplete or out-of-date information. For example, that can frankly be kind of embarrassing if you're on a call with a customer, or even cause you to lose out on an opportunity simply because your lists are out of joint across platforms or solutions. So always having the latest information at your fingertips is critical, and ACT can help you do that. Moving along to benefit number 3, you think about the value that marketing engagement information actually is to you if you don't have the means to act on it in real time, to take the next step, to follow up. So rather than losing time messing around, exporting and importing lists across different solutions, with an integrated CRM and e-marketing platform, you can trigger rapid follow-up automatically based on conditions or triggers that you define, and that can help you do that. And so looking at number 4, for those of you who have way too much business already, you might want to sit this one out. But for the rest of us, how better to grow your prospect pool easily and cost effectively than by capturing leads right from your website or a landing page, for example, which Brent shared a little bit of moments ago. So submissions in this case are instantly recorded into your ACT database, and they're primed and ready to go for automatically scheduled follow-up, whether it be from a call, another email, a more sophisticated campaign, what have you, because you have an integrated CRM and e-marketing platform, and ACT can help you do that. And then last but not least, reason number 5. This one is pretty simple, and we hear this from customers all the time. In a nutshell, why manage multiple software platforms, multiple vendor relationships, invoices, renewals, et cetera, when you can get it all from one place in one integrated solution, one platform? Everyone is busy, so if you can reduce the burden, the expense, the complexity of both learning and operating multiple solutions, that can pay big dividends for you, and we can help you do that. So we're in the home stretch here. Let's talk about how you can get engaged and get started with what you've seen here today. And first, I'll note that we're very thankful to have customers from across the globe on the call today, but I do want to caveat that the details you see here are specific to North America and our friends in the South Pacific. So for those on the call joining from the UK or continental Europe or elsewhere, please reach out to the office or visit the regional website for your respective locales. We have a couple dedicated phone numbers shown here that you can use as well. But for those on an older version of ACT or who don't have an active subscription currently, we've got a great offer you can see on the left here, exclusive only to existing ACT customers. So you can save $135 per user on an ACT Premium subscription on version 23, which is the latest, which now includes the new basic tier of ACT Marketing Automation at no additional charge for new subscribers. For those of you here that are already active subscribers, but that don't have ACT Marketing Automation, great news. The basic tier that I just mentioned will be added automatically to your account at your next renewal. And while the basic tier has great functionality and will meet the needs of many, those who require a little more horsepower, a little more sophistication, can add one of the paid tiers that you see here in the box on the right at a very competitive price. And remember, it's one integrated solution. So check it out, visit the website, call the number, reach out to your certified consultant if you're working with one, and get started. And then lastly, for those of you who are thinking of making the move to a cloud-based solution, we also now have ACT CRM, which you can learn about or start a trial right from our website. Looking at what else is new, so ACT has evolved very substantially in recent years. So again, if you're not on the latest version or if you're not on an active subscription, in addition to marketing automation, which we've shown you here today, you're likely missing out on other new features that we've released since the version you're on, like dynamic sales pipeline management, interactive dashboards, or our next generation Outlook integration, as well as a ton of user experience enhancements across the footprint of the product. So I strongly encourage you to get current, and if you want to drill down more into what you see here, you can find this chart and much more very detailed version by version information on the What's New page on our website at act.com/what's new. With that, I just want to say it has been our pleasure having you today, and on behalf of our entire ACT family, we do want to communicate that we greatly appreciate your continued loyalty and your engagement with us over the years. And going back to our theme today, we hope you all can see the light at the end of the tunnel for what's been a very challenging chapter for everyone. And we appreciate you have your work cut out for you to reestablish and really reinvigorate those customer relationships that are the lifeblood of your business. And we want to help play a part in that. And we believe that can be a critical tool at the center of your business that you leverage to help spark that fire. The team is going to stay online a little longer to continue answering questions. Appreciate all of the questions that you've been asking to date. And take care, everyone. Thank you, and have a great day.